Hi, this is Terry Witherspoon with Lasting Liberty Ministries. I'd like to visit today about some things that are happening in the news, and a lot of people are being shaken by what they see in the news. In particular, the stock market has taken a severe tumble in the last few days. In fact, stock markets around the world are really taking a tumble, and there's a lot of fear that seems to be gripping people all over the TV and in the news media. There are several things that actually are happening in the news that we wrote about going back 3 years ago. In particular, two different books, and that's what I want to visit with you today about. I'm going to show some captions from these books that we wrote, point them out, and then show some news videos and information that indicates those things that we wrote about are happening right now. And hopefully we'll get some insight about what God's trying to do and give us a steady heart to face these days that we're coming into. The first book that I'd like to talk about was called Taking Up Serpents. It's the Shepherd's Rod for 2023. We received this information at the very end of 2022, and we published it in 23. And what I'd like to talk about is this part of the book in chapter 6, Times Coming. You can see there, here's what we wrote. Tough economic times. Tough economic times are coming. It will feel like a depression to many people. Those that put their hope in God will not be affected. God will guide you through the mire. All of God's promises are still good. The promises of God's provision are accessed by faith. I heard the Lord say, where your treasure is, there will be your heart also. Fly high in me, fly above all things. That's our invitation. Now, God indicated nearly 3 years ago, tough economic times were coming, but He wants us to know that His promises of provision still hold, and we will walk by faith. We will keep our eyes on Him, remind ourselves that we're seated with Him in heavenly places, and we're just not going to be shaken by these things that are affecting the world. Here's a good promise out of Psalms chapter 37, verse 25. Here's what the psalmist wrote. He said, I have been young and now I'm old, yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his descendants begging for bread. No, that's not our lot. God's going to take care of us. He promised to do so. So I want to really encourage you, no matter what you see in the news, no matter what's happening, keep your eyes on Jesus. Trust Him. Walk in faith. Keep your peace. He's going to see us through. Not only that, He has purpose in what's happening. It looks like bad things, but God's doing good things behind it. And I want to encourage us about that. Now, the next thing that we wrote out of that book called Taking Up Serpents is one little sentence here. You can see it there highlighted. Here's what we wrote. The Lord is going to reset the reset. Now, all these things are interconnected. God said that He was going to reset the reset 3 years ago. Now, you've heard about the Great Reset. That was a globalist movement, basically to take over the world and subjugate people, to take over governments and dissolve borders and cause people to come under their bondage. But God announced ahead of time that He was going to reset the reset. And these things that I want to share with you are all interconnected, including this financial shaking that appears to be on the horizon. Now, the current Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, made some comments in the video that I'm about to share with you. At least 3 times he mentions how that Trump administration is resetting the global economy. It's very exciting to see.
What is your reaction? What is the impact on Europeans? You want them to spend more on defense,
yes,
which they're agreeing to finally. But how can they do that when their economies are crashing and they are now
No, their economies are not crashing. The markets are reacting. No, their economies are not crashing. Their markets are reacting to a dramatic change in the global order in terms of trade. So I don't think it's fair to say economies are crashing. Markets are crashing because markets are based on the stock value of companies who today are embedded in modes of production that are bad for the United States. We have to be a country that thinks we're the largest consumer market in the world, and yet the only thing we export is services. And we need to stop that. We need to get back to a time where we're a country that can make things, and to do that, we have to reset the global order of trade.
And the other part of my question
Well, the worst thing is to leave it the way it is forever. I mean, this just can't continue. We can't continue to be a country that doesn't make things. We have to be able to make things to provide jobs for Americans. That's it. It's that simple. China is an example. I mean, it's outrageous. I mean, they don't consume anything. All they do is export and flood and distort markets in addition to all the tariffs and barriers they put in place. So the president rightly has concluded that the current status of global trade is bad for America and good for a bunch of other people, and he's going to reset it, and he's absolutely right to do it.
Now, because we can see that God is behind these events in the world, we can have peace about it, knowing that he has a purpose in it and he's doing something. Look, here's another article put out by Human Events. Jack Posobiec, who is a commentator and journalist online, they recently published an article, and look here what it says. Human Events. Trump just reset the Great Reset. The golden age is on the other side. That's encouraging. So don't be afraid. Don't be shaken by what you see in the news. There's a lot of fear being stirred up. It's not from God. This shaking economically is basically God moving things around to benefit us and other people around the world. And look, here's another video I'd like to share with you by the Prime Minister of Great Britain. He makes an incredible statement in this video.
From one partner to another. Today, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer expected to announce Trump's tariffs are popular in an address. Quote, his office telling the Sunday Times, Trump has done something that we don't agree with, but there's a reason why people are behind him on this. The world has changed. Globalization is over, and we are now in a new era. Rebecca, how profound a statement is that, specifically that takeaway that globalization is over?
Wow, there you have it. The Prime Minister of Great Britain essentially will announce that globalization is dead, and we have entered into a new era. Now, I'd like to talk to you about some things we published in another book. It's our Shepherd's Rod from 2024. It's called Kings and Priests. And here's an excerpt I just put up. It's chapter 4 from that book, Kings and Priests. That chapter 4 is titled Liberate. And here's what I heard the Lord say. Let's liberate people. Liberty will ring all over the country. The Lord is calling his people to bring liberation to all places. He wants to liberate all people through his people. That's what he's trying to do. Now, these things we see in the headlines are all interconnected, and God's hand is in them. Here's another thing I'd like to show you from that same book, Kings and Priests. On page 63, God intends to mix politics and religion. Here's what we wrote. I heard the Lord say, liberty will ring all over the country this year. This has a twofold application. The Lord is going to increasingly move through his body to set people free from the effects of the curse in the world. However, he's also going to move into every area of society, including all levels of government. You and I are called to be salt and light, and we are called by God to go where salt and light is needed, and that is every part of society, including government. And God is sending people to accomplish that. Now, here's a third thing from that same book in the summary. I believe this is on page 142, and you can see I've highlighted it there. And here's what we wrote. Liberty will ring again. Liberty is going to ring all over this country in the coming days. God is going to bring liberty that will be experienced in the spiritual and the natural lives of people. God cares about our spiritual life, of course, but he also cares about our natural lives. He wants more than just to get us saved and into heaven. He has things he wants to accomplish for us and through us right here in the world. And that includes setting the captives free to bring liberty. And we're announcing that God is doing that. And these things you're seeing in the news are all interconnected. I want to share a quick video that kind of ties all that together. Take a look at this.
We're going to take you now over to the White House. President Biden is not only celebrating his 81st birthday, but he's also taking part in the annual tradition of pardoning 2 White House Thanksgiving turkeys. They are named Liberty and Bell. Let's see.
I hereby pardon Liberty and Bell. The United States is now an occupied country, but it will soon be an occupied country no longer. We're not going to have this. November 5th, 2024 will be called Liberation Day in America. We're going to be liberated.
Nice crowd. What a good-looking group of people. Well, we have some very, very good news today, and a lot of good things are happening for our country. Please sit down. My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day. Waiting for a long time. April 2nd, 2025 will forever be remembered as the day American industry was reborn, the day America's destiny was reclaimed, and the day that we began to make America wealthy again.
I think people are tired of seeing the United States ripped off. I'd make our allies pay their fair share.
The golden age of America begins right now. From this day forward, our country will flourish and be respected again all over the world. We will be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. We're going to reclaim our wealth. This is the beginning of Liberation Day in America.
Wow, there you have it. Now, we wrote those words that God wanted to liberate people through his people and that he wanted to bring liberation long before Donald Trump was elected. And God was announcing what he wanted to do. You know, when you and I get born again, we belong to Jesus. And honestly, we're not entitled to our own opinion anymore. I really don't care what I think. And honestly, I don't care about other people's opinion. I know that sounds terrible. I'll tell you what I care about. I care about what God thinks. And we all should feel that way. Paul wrote in Galatians chapter 2, verse 20, I have been crucified with Christ. It's no longer I that live, but Christ in me. The life that I now live, I live by faith in the one who loved me and gave his life for me. You and I are subject to Jesus. He's the king. He's the head. We're the body. And we ought to only care what his opinion is and what he's doing and what he's thinking. And we need to seek him and look for that. And I'm declaring to you these things God is doing. He's bringing liberation. He's using Donald Trump, whether you like him or not. He's using Donald Trump to bring liberation to this land and to reset the Great Reset. God has great plans for the United States of America. God has great plans for every country in the world. God has great plans for you. He loves you with an everlasting love, and we love you too. God bless you.